Hi artist! This week we're going to make a patterned color wheel. So for our color wheel, we're going to use the primary colors, which are red, yellow, and blue, to mix the secondary colors, which are orange, green, and violet. So you will need certain materials for this, but there's a variety of choices. So crayons are a great option. Colored pencils work well. If you have oil pastels, that would be great too. Or if you happen to have paints, that would be a great option too. But basic things like crayons, colored pencils will work well. Markers will not work very well for this project because we're going to be blending the primary colors to make the secondary colors. And markers don't work very well for mixing. So you'll see in the video that I make some samples of the secondary colors with different materials. Let's make a patterned color wheel. Today we're going to learn about the primary and the secondary colors. We're going to use the elements of art, color, line, and shape in this project. So what is a color wheel? What are the primary colors? What are the secondary colors? The color wheel is a very important tool that artists use to understand how colors relate to each other. Colors are placed in triangle shapes in a specific order, very similar to the Roy G. Biv or rainbow order. In the color wheel, we have primary colors, red, blue, and yellow, which can make all the other colors if they are mixed together. We also have the secondary colors, orange, green, and violet, which are made by mixing two of the primary colors together. So if we have our primary colors, yellow, blue, and red, we can make all of the colors in the color wheel. If you mix blue and yellow, you will get green. If you mix yellow and red, you will get orange. If you mix red and blue, you will get violet. We're going to use only the primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, to mix the secondary colors, orange, green, and violet. We will also use shapes and lines to draw patterns inside the sections of our color wheel. For your supplies, you will need paper, a pencil, a black marker, and the primary colors, which we know now are red, yellow, and blue. The materials that work best are crayons, colored pencils, paint, or oil pastels, something that you can blend. Markers don't work very well for this project. You can use these two sheets, which will be linked in Google Classroom for pattern ideas. You can also make up your own. Before adding color, we'll draw patterns inside the 6 sections on your color wheel. Remember, a pattern is a repeated shape or line. Let's review our directions first. First, we'll fold our papers in half, hamburger style. Then we'll draw a line on the fold. We'll put a dot in the middle of the line, and then we'll draw an X through the dot to the edge of the paper with 2 diagonal lines so that you have 6 sections. Then we'll outline with a black marker and draw a pattern in each section with a black marker. After that, it's best if you label where your colors go in the color wheel order. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet. Next, we'll color in our color wheels using only the primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, to mix the secondary colors. Now let's talk about the materials you can use to add color today. So our goal is to make the secondary colors out of the primary colors. Remember, the primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. So I have crayons here, and that would be a great material to use. Another material that will work is colored pencil. Another option that you may have at home is paint. So you could use the primary colors in your paint, red, yellow, and blue. Another option might be oil pastel. One material that doesn't work that well for this is markers. Because markers are ink, when they go on, you can't blend them. And our goal with this is to mix or blend the secondary colors. And if markers are the only thing you have, no worries. You can skip the blending step and just color in with the secondary colors. So maybe you have purple, orange, and green markers. Great, then just use those in the sections on the color wheel instead. So what I mean by blending is you're going to take the lightest color of the primary colors, which if you said is yellow, then you're right. Yellow is the lightest color. Then we have red, and then blue would be our darkest color. So you're gonna take yellow first, the lightest color with it first, or paint with it first. Then you're going to take the next color that you're going to mix. So red and yellow make orange. So I am layering red on top of yellow, and I should get an orange color. And I should keep blending them if I don't see the color, and I should see an orange come out there. Let's try a colored pencil. So let's try to make green. I'm going to take my lightest color first, which is yellow. Then I'm going to take blue and I'm going to color over the yellow. I should see a green come out there. Let's try an oil pastel. Let's try and make a violet or a purple. So the lightest color out of red and blue is red. So I'm going to use red first. Then I'm going to layer it with blue. And I should see a violet or a purple shade come out. The cool thing about oil pastel is that you can actually blend it more with your finger. Paint would be a fabulous option to use for this project. Let's start with the lightest color. I'm going to try to make all of the secondary colors. So we'll take yellow. Now I'm going to try and make orange. I'm going to take a little bit of red. Maybe a little more yellow. And then I have an orange. Now let's try to make a green. So yellow. Next, let's add blue. There's green. Now let's try to make a violet. So I'm going to take the lightest of the two colors, which is red, first, and then blue. And I have a violet. So to get started, let's fold our papers in half hamburger style. What does that mean? Well, you're going to look for the shorter side of your paper, match it up with the other short side, the opposite side from it. So I'm going to take one of the shorter sides, fold it over, match up the corners, and make a crease. So I'm pressing down. Then I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to draw a line with my pencil on the creased line that I folded. If you have a ruler, this would be a good time to get the ruler out because we're going to use it to make a straight line. If you don't have a ruler, the edge of something that is flat will also work, like a box, maybe a book, or even a piece of paper. Now I'm going to guess where the middle of this is. The middle is not up here, the middle is not down here, it's about right here. I'm just going to put a little dot big enough for me to see where I think the middle is. Next, I'm going to draw lines that come out. I'm going to end up making 6 sections for my color wheel. So it will end up looking something like this. So right now we have this line. We're going to draw 2 long diagonal lines, but I'm going to break that up into 4 shorter lines. I know that sounds like a lot of lines, but I'll make it a little bit simpler for you. So you can use about 2 or 3 fingers as a marking point. So I'll put 2 fingers from the corner of my paper I'm gonna put a little dashed line. Let's do that on all of the corners. And it doesn't have to be exact on each side. Now I'm going to take my ruler, or you can take whatever flat-edged object you have, or even just try and draw a straight line on your own. Then I'm going to line up my ruler with that little dashed mark I made where my fingers were. I'm going to draw a straight line to the edge of the paper. Now let's do this corner. Line up the ruler to the dot, to the little dashed line, and draw a straight line. Now let's do the other side. And last line. Make sure your ruler is lined up with the dot and the dashed line. Now it doesn't have to be exact, but the important thing is that you should have 6 sections for your 6 colors on the color wheel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next, I'm going to take a black marker, I'm using a Sharpie, to outline or trace over these pencil lines. If you have a ruler, you can use your ruler for this step and make your outline very straight. So now we're going to draw patterns in each of the sections. Each one should have a different pattern. I'm going to continue filling this one out, but you will need to come up with 6 different patterns to fill in your sections. You can use the example sheets on Google Classroom for this, or you can come up with your own patterns. My patterns. To make the sections of my color wheel stand out a little more, I'm going to outline the section line a second time. So you could use the same black marker and just go over that line another time to make it a little bit thicker, or if you have a thicker marker, you can do that with your thicker marker. Now my sections really stand out from the patterns because the edges of them are thicker. So to get started adding color, let's label where our color goes very lightly with pencil. So I'm going to put red here, so I'm going to put a little R there just so I remember. Then next would be orange. O is for orange, Y is for yellow, G is for green, B is for blue, and V is for violet. Now I'm going to add color to my pattern color wheel. I'm going to use a variety of materials because I know that you guys may be using many different supplies at home for this, so it's okay to have different materials. We can achieve the same result with whatever we have. I'm going to start with red, and I'll just use a colored pencil for this first. So with red, I don't have to blend anything because red is a primary color. So I'm just going to color in the entire section with my red colored pencil. My next color in my color wheel is orange. So for orange, we need the primary colors, yellow and red. remember to use the lightest color first. So yellow is the lightest color. I'm going to show you how to do that with a crayon. So I'll start coloring in with yellow. And I'm not going to color on the black part for this section because I have that already colored in. But if I had a section like this with the loopy lines, then I would just color the entire thing. So I'm going to color in all the white spaces here. And then I'm going to layer red on top to make an orange. The more blending you do, the better your color will look. Color in my color wheel is yellow. I'm going to paint yellow in, but remember I don't need to mix anything into it because it is a primary color. The next color in the color wheel is green. Remember, for green you need yellow and blue. I'm going to use crayons for this section, and I'm going to start with the lightest of the two colors, which is yellow. So I'm going to color with yellow, and then I will layer it with blue. The next color in the color wheel is blue. So for blue, I don't need to mix anything because it is a primary color. I'm going to use a colored pencil for this section, but remember, use whatever materials you have. Last but not least is violet. And remember, violet is made by mixing red and blue together. For violet, I'm going to use paint. So if you're using paint, this is how you would mix your colors. I'm going to take red first because it's the lightest out of red and blue. I'm going to paint red first on my paper. And then I'll rinse my brush. And I'm going to take a little bit of blue and layer blue on top of red. If you feel like it got to be a little too blue, kind of like my example, then you can take a little more red and blend that in. Now I can see the violet or the purple coming out. Sometimes it just takes a little time. Okay, so I am done with my patterned color wheel because I have patterns in each section of my color wheel, and I've colored in each section. I've also made the secondary colors, orange, green, and violet, out of the primary colors, red, blue, and yellow. So remember, it doesn't matter what material you use. You could use crayons, you could use colored pencils, paint, oil pastel. You'll be able to blend the colors out of those materials. I hope you had fun creating your color wheels. I can't wait to see them.